Taylor Swift stared at the glowing phone screen, her hands trembling so hard she almost dropped it. The notification had appeared out of nowhere while she was making coffee in Travis's kitchen, his phone sitting on the counter where he'd left it before heading out for his morning workout. She hadn't meant to look, but the preview had flashed before she could turn away. Miss you, heart, sent from Travis's account to a contact saved simply as K. Her stomach twisted. Beneath it, another message from K. Thinking about you. Wish things had been different. The room seemed to tilt. Taylor set the phone down slowly, her coffee forgotten, her heart pounding in her chest so loudly she could hear it. It was March 3rd, 2025, and up until that moment, she'd believed they were building something real. 2 years of love, laughter, and quiet trust. 2 years of her finally letting someone in, someone she thought might actually stay. But staring at those messages, all that certainty cracked. She should wait, she told herself. She should breathe, wait for him to come home, ask him about it calmly. But instead, something inside her snapped into survival mode, that same instinct that had protected her heart for years. Taylor walked upstairs, her vision blurry with tears. She pulled a suitcase from the closet, unzipped it, and started to pack. Her movements were mechanical. Fold, zip, breathe, repeat. If she was leaving, she needed to do it now, before he came back, before he looked at her with those eyes that made her believe in fairy tales. She had just zipped her second suitcase when the front door opened downstairs. "Babe," Travis's voice called out, cheerful, familiar, loving. "I grabbed us those breakfast sandwiches you like. Extra avocado, just how you—" The sound of his voice faltered. He appeared in the doorway a second later, still in his workout clothes, his smile fading as he saw her standing by the bed, 2 packed suitcases at her feet, tears streaking down her face. "What's going on?" Travis asked, setting the food down slowly. "Taylor, what happened?" "Don't," she said, her voice breaking. "Don't come closer. Don't pretend you don't know." Travis froze. "I genuinely have no idea what's happening right now. Did something happen?" Taylor's throat felt dry. "Who's Kay?" she asked, her voice cold. "The person you've been texting, the one you told miss you 3 days ago. Who is she?" The color drained from Travis's face. "Taylor, I can explain," he said quietly. Those 4 words made something inside her snap. "Oh my God," she said, her voice rising. "You can explain? That's what you're going with?" "Because there is an explanation," Travis insisted, his hands raised. "If you just let me—" "Let you what? Let me tell you some story about how it's not what it looks like? Let you convince me that texting someone else you miss them is somehow okay?" "I'm not trying to gaslight you," Travis said, his own voice growing louder. "I'm trying to tell you what actually happened if you'd stop yelling for 2 seconds. "I have been listening," Taylor cried. "I listened when you said I could trust you. I listened when you said you'd never hurt me like the others did. And now I found out you've been texting your ex behind my back, and I'm supposed to just calmly listen?" "She's not my ex-girlfriend," Travis said, his voice cracking slightly. Something in his tone made Taylor hesitate. There was pain in his expression, deep, old pain. "Then who is she?" she demanded. Travis took a slow breath, then sat down heavily on the bed. His head dropped into his hands. When he looked up, Taylor was shocked to see tears in his eyes. Travis rarely cried. "Kay is Kayla," he said quietly. "Ryan's little sister." The name hit Taylor like a punch to the chest. Ryan. Travis's best friend in high school, the one who had taken his own life their senior year of college. "Oh my God," Taylor whispered, her anger fading into confusion. Travis nodded, his eyes distant. March 1st was the anniversary of his death. 15 years. Travis's voice grew quieter, but the pain behind it deepened. "Kayla texted me because she was having a hard day. I told her I missed him, not her, him. I miss my best friend who's been gone for 15 years. Taylor felt like the air had been punched out of her chest. The message, she whispered. The one that said, wish things had been different. She was talking about Ryan, Travis said, his voice breaking now. Wishing she'd noticed the signs, wishing she'd done something to save him. We were both wishing our person was still here. Tears filled Taylor's eyes, guilt flooding in faster than she could breathe. I didn't know, she said softly. I know you didn't, Travis replied, wiping out his face with the back of his hand. Because I don't talk about it. Because even after 15 years, I still can't get through March without feeling like I'm drowning. Taylor took a step toward him, instinctively wanting to hold him, but Travis lifted a hand to stop her. No, he said, his voice firm but not cruel. You don't get to comfort me right now. You just accused me of cheating without even asking. You were ready to walk out without giving me a chance to explain. His words landed like blows. Taylor's throat tightened. You're right, she whispered. I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions. I should have trusted you. Yeah, you should have, Travis said, standing up now, pacing. His voice wasn't angry anymore, just exhausted, wounded. After 2 years of me showing up for you every single day, you saw 2 messages and immediately decided I was betraying you. What does that say about us? It says I'm scared, Taylor said through her tears. It says that every person I've ever loved has either left me, hurt me, or used me. It says that when something feels too good to be true, my brain convinces me it probably is. I'm not them, Travis said sharply, turning toward her. I'm not the guy who cheated on you. I'm not the musician who used you for headlines. I'm me. I've been here, loving you exactly as you are, and you still decided I was capable of betraying you. Taylor broke down completely. I know, she sobbed, but I'm waiting for it. For the moment you realize I'm too much work, too damaged, too complicated. So when I saw those messages, my brain said, there it is. He's already looking for someone easier to love. The room fell into silence. The air between them felt heavy, full of all the words they didn't know how to say. Finally, Travis spoke, his voice quieter but still trembling. I can't do this, he said finally. Taylor's heart stopped. What? I can't be in a relationship where the person I love is always waiting for me to betray them, where every time something goes wrong, your first instinct is to assume I'm the villain. That's not sustainable, Taylor. It's not love if one of us is constantly walking on eggshells. Please, Taylor begged, taking a step closer. Please don't give up on us. I'll work on it. I'll go to therapy. I'll learn how to trust better. Just please don't end this because I made one terrible mistake. Travis shook his head, emotion thick in his voice. It's not about this one mistake. It's about the fact that after 2 years, you still don't really believe I'm going to stay. That some part of you is always packed and ready to leave before I can leave you first. I don't know how to fix that, she said, crying harder. I don't know how to stop expecting people to leave. But I know that I love you. I know that I don't want to lose you. Travis closed his eyes, tears slipping down his cheeks. I love you too, he said quietly. That's the problem. I love you so much that it's killing me. To see you not love yourself enough to believe you deserve to be loved back. He turned away, his voice breaking completely now. I can't fix you, Taylor. I can only love you. And I've been loving you so hard, hoping it would finally be enough. The silence between them stretched like a canyon. Taylor's tears wouldn't stop. She could barely see him through them. "Please," she whispered, "don't walk away from me. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I love you, Travis. I swear I do. I just don't know how to stop being scared." Travis stood still for a long time, his shoulders tense, his jaw tight. Then, without looking at her, he said quietly, "Show me that you trust me now." Taylor blinked. "How?" He said, "Ask. Ask me what you need to know instead of assuming. If you really want to stay, if you really want us, then start by choosing trust." Her hands were shaking as she spoke. "Show me the messages," she said softly. "Let me see what I should have trusted you enough to believe was innocent." Travis hesitated for a moment, not because he had anything to hide, but because the request itself hurt. Then he picked up his phone, unlocked it, and scrolled to the conversation. His thumb lingered over the screen before he handed it to her. Taylor took it, her heart racing, terrified of what she might find, even though she already knew the truth. The messages were exactly as Travis had said. Kayla reaching out on the anniversary, her words full of grief. Travis responding with compassion and shared memories. "I miss him too. He would have loved Taylor. You're not alone, Kayla." And then the message that had destroyed everything. "Miss you, heart." Now painfully clear in context. He wasn't saying he missed her. He was saying he missed Ryan. The heart emoji wasn't romantic. It was a symbol of empathy, of shared pain. Taylor's vision blurred again, but this time with shame. "Oh my God, I'm such an idiot." "You're not an idiot," Travis said quietly. "You're just hurt and scared. But Taylor," he looked up, his eyes red, "I can't keep being the person who has to prove I'm not your enemy every time life gets messy." She nodded, clutching his phone to her chest. "I know, you shouldn't have to. You've done nothing to deserve that." Travis exhaled slowly, running a hand through his hair. "I love you," he said, his voice breaking. "But I can't love you hard enough to fix what other people broke in you. You have to do that work yourself." "I will," Taylor said, stepping closer. "I promise I will. But can you love me while I'm trying? While I'm fixing myself?" He was silent for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Finally, he said, "I need you to do something for me." "Anything," she said instantly. He said, "Go downstairs, take your suitcases back to the closet, unpack your things, and choose to stay. Not because I'm asking you to, but because you're choosing us, because you're deciding that we're worth fighting for, even when it's scary." Taylor stood frozen. The weight of what he was asking wasn't physical, it was emotional. It was trust. It was surrender. It was everything she'd spent her life avoiding. She looked at him, this man who knew her better than anyone else, who'd seen her flaws, her panic, her worst moments, and still loved her through it. "Okay," she whispered. "I'm choosing us. I'm choosing to trust you." Travis's eyes softened just a little. Then he said, "Then there's one more thing. You need to talk to someone, a therapist, because I love you, but I can't be the only thing standing between you and your demons. You need to learn to fight them too." "I will," Taylor promised, her voice trembling. "I'll call tomorrow. I'll do the work." He nodded, and then, finally, after what felt like hours of pain and distance, he closed the space between them and pulled her into his arms. Taylor collapsed against his chest, sobbing, the sound raw and human. "I'm sorry," she whispered again and again. "I know," Travis murmured, holding her tighter. "I know you are, and I forgive you, but we can't do this again, okay? Next time something scares you, you come to me first. You ask me. Can you promise me that?" "I promise," Taylor said through her tears. "I swear I'll be better." They stood there for a long time, just holding each other, surrounded by open suitcases, half-folded clothes, and all the unspoken pain that came from almost losing something real. For the first time that day,
Taylor felt her heartbeat begin to slow. The fear that had driven her was still there, but something else had started to bloom beside it, the fragile seed of faith. Taylor stood at the window staring out at the gray Kansas City sky. Her reflection looked like someone she barely recognized, tired, hollow-eyed, clutching a mug of tea gone cold. The rain outside seemed to echo everything she couldn't say out loud. Her phone buzzed again, another message from Travis. "Please talk to me. I didn't mean for you to find it like that." She didn't reply. Instead, she scrolled back to that screenshot, the one that had set her whole world on fire. It wasn't even the words anymore that hurt. It was the uncertainty, the thought ordinary way possible. Back in Los Angeles, her team kept calling. They needed statements, reassurance, direction, but Taylor couldn't focus on anything except the hollow ache inside her chest. The woman who once wrote songs about heartbreak was now living inside one she couldn't quite understand. Meanwhile, Travis sat alone in his car outside their house, running his fingers over the steering wheel. He'd replayed the moment 1,000 times. The look on her face, the silence between them that felt like miles. He wasn't angry she'd looked. He was heartbroken that she didn't believe him. When he finally gathered the courage to knock on the door, she opened it slowly. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The air between them was thick, not with anger anymore, but exhaustion. He took a step closer, his voice breaking. "You think I'd do that to you?" She flickered with something. Pain, confusion, maybe even regret. "I don't know what to think anymore." He took a step closer, his voice breaking. "You think I'd throw away everything we've built for a text?" Her lips trembled. "It's not just the text, Travis. It's what it means. It's that I thought we were safe." For the first time, she let him see how deeply she was hurting, not from betrayal, but from fear. Fear that love, no matter how real, could still vanish overnight. He reached for her hand. For a second, she almost pulled away, then stopped. Their fingers met halfway. "Then let's fight for it," he whispered. "Not with headlines, not with pride, just us." Outside, the rain started to fade, and somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled. Soft, lingering, like a promise that even storms eventually pass. Hours turned into days, and silence stretched like an invisible wall between them. Taylor had left for New York for a short press event, hoping the distance might help her think clearly. But even as she smiled for the cameras, her mind kept drifting back to that night, to the look in Travis's eyes, to the way his voice cracked when he said, "Let's fight for it." Back home in Kansas City, Travis couldn't rest. He knew he hadn't done anything wrong, at least not in the way she thought. But he also knew that hiding things, even for good reasons, had consequences. Finally, he decided to do something he'd never done before. Call Andrea, Taylor's mom. He admitted, "I messed up. Not because I cheated, but because I didn't tell her what was going on." Andrea listened quietly. "She's not angry because she thinks you betrayed her. She's scared because she loves you too much." That night, Travis opened the laptop Taylor had left behind and found the very document she'd seen. It was still sitting there, open on the screen, a prenup draft. He clicked through it again, but this time he noticed something she hadn't. In the top corner was a comment bubble. From her lawyer, not from him. The document wasn't his idea. It was something her team had sent weeks earlier for her own legal protection in case of marriage talks. His stomach dropped. It wasn't betrayal, it was miscommunication, a painful, tragic misunderstanding that had spiraled out of control. He grabbed his phone and typed a message. "Taylor, it was never my document. It came from your team. Please come home. I need to show you." When she landed the next morning, he was waiting at her apartment. No words, no flowers, just that laptop on the kitchen counter, glowing in the dim light. He opened it, showed her the comments, the dates, the sender's name. For a long moment, she just stared, her face pale, her heart beating so loudly she could almost hear it. "Oh my God," she whispered. "It wasn't even from you." Travis just shook his head, his eyes red. You thought I wanted to protect myself from you, but all I ever wanted was us. Tears filled her eyes as she stepped closer. I wanted to protect us too. I just didn't know how. And for the first time in weeks, they both laughed, not because it was funny, but because the pain had finally broken open enough to let the truth in. He pulled her into his arms, whispering against her hair, "Let's never let lawyers write our love story again." She smiled through tears. Deal.
Weeks passed. The chaos faded. The rumors burned out. And what remained was something quieter, something stronger. Taylor and Travis had finally stopped trying to prove their love to the world and started protecting it again, like something fragile, but sacred. They'd learned the hardest lesson fame could teach. Sometimes the real danger wasn't betrayal, it was the noise, the shadows of doubt that crept in when you let the world too close. One late night, Taylor sat alone in her studio, the room dimly lit by soft amber light. The city outside hummed, but in here there was only her and the melody forming in her mind. She stared down at her notebook. Across the page, she'd written the first line, "Love doesn't need signatures, it needs trust." Her voice was quiet at first, trembling, then stronger, filled with the ache of everything they'd survived. Each lyric traced the story from the moment she saw the document to the silence, the storm, and the truth. When she finished, there were tears on her cheeks, but they weren't from sadness, they were from relief. For the first time in months, she felt light again, free. The next morning, she played the song for Travis. He sat there, still as stone, listening to every word. And when she finished, he didn't speak right away. He just reached out, took her hand, and said quietly, "That's the most beautiful apology I've ever heard." She laughed through her tears. "It's not an apology. It's a proudness." They stood together by the window, the morning light spilling over them. Outside, the world would keep spinning. Gossip, headlines, cameras. But in that moment, none of it mattered. They had fought through doubt, pride, fear, and still found their way back. Later that night, she posted one photo to Instagram. A simple black and white shot of her guitar leaning against the wall. No caption, just a small heart emoji and a sparkle. Her fans didn't know it yet, but that song, "The Promise We Almost Lost," would become one of her most powerful tracks ever. A ballad not about heartbreak, but about the fragile miracle of forgiveness. And when she performed it live for the first time, Travis was there, standing in the crowd, hand over his heart, smiling through the lights. Because sometimes love doesn't end in flames or fairy tales. Sometimes it just survives.